The 2014 stock car racing season begins this weekend, qualifying for the Daytona 500. All of the big names are going to be there to kick off the ever-important points race.
Yeah, and running the Daytona 500 has always been a dream of Seaford native CJ Faison. You may remember last fall we spoke with him a couple days before he got behind the wheel in Dover. Well, this season he's dialing it back a bit, dividing his time a little more between the sport he loves and the legacy his father and grandparents built for him here on Delmarva. But mind you, that doesn't mean he's pulling back the throttle on racing. There are two places you can usually find 20-year-old CJ Faison: behind the wheel of his race car in the fast lane, or with his dad in the auction lane of Delaware Auto Exchange. And CJ's role in the family business is about to get bigger.
It's pretty cool to come in and be the third generation in a family business and continue the legacy that the Faison family started.
For the past year, CJ has been dividing his time between Delaware and North Carolina, trying to make a name for himself on the racetrack.
We had a pretty decent season.
In Dover, the number 39 car led most of the first 77 laps until getting a flat.
The end of the Dover race kind of was a heartbreaker because, you know, you lead the whole race and you get your hopes up of winning something that big, but then kind of get shot down, but it just makes you want to try that much more harder next year.
But this year, most of CJ's time will be spent here.
My dad, he actually, he started me working here when I was about 5 years old. And I think when I was about 7 or 8, he actually fired me, swear to you. And I missed a spot on the floor. Couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 feet out there in the lane area. And he called me in there on the intercom. And I knew I was in trouble from that point on, and I had to work the rest of the summer to earn my job back for next year. Sometimes I thought he hated me, but it was really just tough love is all it was.
CJ credits that tough love for his success both on and off the track. And now he wants to give back to the family business that made all his racing opportunities possible.
Well, I was always a part of the business growing up. That was one thing. You know, if you were going to race, you had to be a part of the business and give back to what, you know, supports our, you know, racing habits. CJ
is going to work side by side with his father, Ron. Ron is an auctioneer.
41,
CJ's grandfather was too. In fact, both CJ's grandfather and grandmother were members of the National Auctioneers Association Hall of Fame.
That's pretty awesome. Third generation, you know, my grandparents were in it. My dad, he's an auctioneer.
But don't expect CJ to take over the microphone.
I'm not an auctioneer, and I'm not really planning on it. I just like the business side of it. I can't talk as fast as they can, so I just go fast in circles.
In addition to dealing with day-to-day business issues, CJ hopes to create a bigger presence for Delaware Auto Exchange in social media.
Social networking is huge in racing. You got to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social networking platforms.
But don't think that CJ's racing career is slowing down. CJ will still be hitting the racing circuits around the country.
We're going to race a couple times locally, but mostly we're just going to travel around and have some fun and, you know, go back to the roots of racing where it was all started, around the dirt tracks.
And his roots are what will bring him back to Delmarva each week.
I tell everybody when I come across the Bay Bridge that usually, you know, it's a cool sense, it's a warming feeling in your heart, you know, that you're coming back home.
To work for the man who expects the most from him.
He's a hard man to work for, but at the end of the day, you appreciate it because he instills good morals and values in you and helps you out through life.
Well, CJ says when he's not on the road racing during the weekends, you'll probably find him at some of our local racetracks. And you can catch qualifying for the Daytona 500 this Sunday, February 16th at 1 o'clock on our sister station, Fox 21. Then the Daytona 500 is the following Sunday, February 23rd at noon, also on Fox 21. And if you would like to learn more about CJ Faison and Delaware Auto Exchange, go to our website, delmarvalife.com, and click on the show tab. Nice young man.
Great guy. And of course, as you know, racing is a sport dominated by men. But up next, some pretty tough women are bringing back a sport that used to be popular in the 70s when I watched it. Anyway, WBOC's Chanel Douglas is going to join us to tell us about roller derby and how it's taking Delmarva by storm.
And we're trying to figure out where Brian is today. Brian, we're ready for our first clue.
Well, Jimmy and Lisa, here is your first of 2 clues. Clue number 1, the town is a halfway point between a larger town and a city. One more clue to go, and then I'll reveal where I am. You're watching Delmarva Life. We will be right back.